Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm glad that you've taken the time out today to join me here. Wherever you are, it's very, very important on the spiritual path that we have some consistency. It really is, isn't it? We are learning here. And what we're learning with this course is a completely different way of looking at ourselves, of looking at each other, and looking at the world in general. We're learning to see things as they really are. And here, as we run around doing our thing on Spinning Ball of Rock, we don't see things as they are because we see this as us. We see ourselves as individuals cut off, separate from other individuals, and certainly separate from God. And we may even go in our minds to a place where we're wondering whether there is God at all. We wonder all kinds of things. And it's very, very interesting because we, in fact, know that not only is there God, there is nothing else. Only God is. And all else is illusion. And we deep down know this. Now, we don't have to admit this to ourselves, and we certainly don't have to admit it to somebody else. You don't have to proclaim that only God is when you go off to work. Now, people might look at you funny. Maybe they won't. I don't know. They may think, God, you're right about that. Yeah. What's this Course in Miracles thing anyway? But it's something that we all know. It is, or we wouldn't find ourselves on the spiritual path. We wouldn't be here to begin with. You're interested in this material because you have heard the call of our inner teacher in whatever form that may have come for you. And whether you were consciously aware of that or not, we just know. Deep down, we just know. What appears to have happened to us is that we have hidden behind an artificial, non-existent, illusory wall of what we think are defenses. We think we're protecting ourselves when we run and hide from truth. Perfect oneness, in other words. When we think we're individuals, when we go forth judging and blaming our brother and ourselves and doing life, as we call it in the world, doing life. So as we do life, we attempt to dominate life. We compete with one another. We compete with ourselves, which means in our mind, we make opponents all over the place, left and right. An opponent here, an opponent there. Here, an opponent, there, an opponent. Everywhere, an opponent. We see ourselves as separate. Yet we know we're not. I mean, this is why people are interested in spirituality. This applies to you as much as it applies to me or anyone else. Whether someone is actively engaged on what we call the spiritual path or not in this lifetime actually makes no difference. You are, and that's what matters. So let's say a few words today about resurrection, shall we? And patience, infinite patience. We're only covering one paragraph in the text today. That's chapter 11, section 6, paragraph 4. The section's entitled Waking to Redemption, and paragraph 4 contains quite enough for us to discuss for a long time. How much time? As much as is necessary for us to get it. But I'll keep it to 20 minutes or so, I think. Maybe. We're told here that Jesus is our resurrection and our life. Jesus is our resurrection and our life. How can he say this? We're one with God. We live in him and we live in God. He lives in God. He lives in us. 1 equals 1 equals 1 equals 1. That's how he can assert this. There is no separation of any kind. Of course, in the world we think there is, which is why we appear to be here, with our gray hairs and our aches and pains and our bills that come due, and all of our needs here, all of that. In truth, there is no separation at all. And the resurrection has already been accomplished. So let's say some words about this, because this is one that our intellectual thinking minds don't get at first. Or if you do, then you're apt to want to deny it as well. And the logical question, perfectly understandable question that we might ask is, okay, so wait a minute, this resurrection's already accomplished. Ideas leave not their source. You're at home in God. What? Why did this appear to happen anyway? When did this happen? Well, it didn't. The resurrection has already been accomplished. We're already awake in God. Yes, enlightened, awakened, whatever adjective you wish to put in there. At home. We're perfectly at home in God where we've always been. We've never left. To think that we have is just a dream. This is a dream. Ideas leave not their source. You are an idea. Here in the world, we think of ourselves as everything else, right? We think of ourselves as Homo sapiens, an individual self-sustaining survival unit, a consumer, an economic unit, a unit of economic productivity, which is what our governments think of us. So flattering, so beautiful, right? And we think that we're our age. We think we're our gender. We think that we're our nationality. We think we're our ethnic group within a certain nationality. We think we're our political conviction, our job title, our degrees, our expensive degrees, our lack of degrees, whatever, makes no difference. We label and categorize and subcategorize and judge and judge and judge some more. That's how we roll here in the world. Sick of it yet? What we discover here is that it doesn't have to be that way. This is a dream. We're perfectly at home in God, and in thinking otherwise, we create obstacles for ourselves. In a manner of speaking, we erect a wall or a barrier, a series of barriers that seem to exist between ourselves and the truth. So what we call spiritual practice, here as we study and practice this course, the act, the process that we refer to as true forgiveness, takes down lovingly, not brutally, not forcibly, but lovingly, takes down this wall. It removes the barriers to our awareness of truth. As the Course puts it, the intro to the Course, we remove the barriers to love's presence. In other words, to the presence of God, you, truth. And that's what happens when we extend love, when we truly forgive, when we choose to see things as they really are. Ideas leave not their source. We think we're all of these titles and labels, but we never truly stop to think of ourselves as an idea. But we are. The thought of God. This is a term by which we're known here in A Course in Miracles. The thought of God, the extension of God, and like extends like. We've never left our source. This resurrection has already been accomplished. So if you would like a wonderful and poignant and apparently multifaceted definition of what the resurrection is, I would refer you to the Manual for Teachers, chapter 29. These chapters, if you're not familiar with the manual, appear as questions. So it's like a spiritual Q&A with Jesus. Question 29, chapter 29, what is the resurrection? Well, it's the overcoming or the surmounting of death. It is. It's that. It's accepting the Holy Spirit's purpose for the world. In other words, atonement, accepting atonement for ourselves. It's changing our mind about the purpose of the world. Yeah. And many other things, all in paragraph 1. That's question 29, chapter 29 in the Manual for Teachers. I invite you to look that over. This whole course is about our changing our mind. It is. That's why it's correctly stated that this is a course in mind training. If this is not what you want, no problem. I mean, that's fine. There are plenty of people in this world that are drawn to this course. You'll know why you're drawn. If you're watching this, you'll know why. Because something will be said, whether it has already happened or whether it's going to happen. Whatever that is, you'll know, and it's what you're meant to hear today. This is a message from our inner teacher. So you'll get what you're supposed to get. Just that, which is beautiful. Because here, as we run around doing life, it just appears that we're all having a separate experience. In fact, that's not true. It's not possible. There is no separation of any kind. In fact, if you take nothing out of this video or any of these videos or any video, any podcast, any reading, any TikTok video, anything related to A Course in Miracles, if you take absolutely nothing out of that and abandon this for the rest of this lifetime, which is your choice, take that there is no separation of any kind. None. Sit with that, please. So you might rightly ask, and people that practice this material ask this all the time, how long is this going to take anyway? I want this yesterday. Okay, well, excellent. Excellent. Here in this world, we want results, don't we? We want to be awakened right now. In fact, we are. Ideas leave not their source, but we don't see it. So we want to see it right now. We want it yesterday. We're deeply impatient, aren't we? And of course, we're invited and encouraged as our modern technology has sped up life in the last 20 years in an order of magnitude, seriously, exponentially. I'm 52 years old. I was born in 1971. There was no internet. We only had 4 channels of TV, sometimes 5. There was no cable. There was no internet. There were no cell phones. We played outside until it got dark. So as I ran around as a kid until it got dark, just roving the streets, never did I imagine that life would speed up so much. And it's only going to speed up more. Part of the beauty of this is we're having this conversation right now. You can do exactly what is being done right here and give your social media feed to the Holy Spirit. Try that. Doesn't mean you have to hold yourself out as a teacher, as I do. This is my own particular calling. It's my own particular directive from our inner teacher. Yours may look completely different. That's the outward form. The content, forgiveness, extending love to the Son of God, is exactly the same. It's only the outward form that appears to differ. In reality, it's all the same. So as things speed up, we become more impatient. Our attention spans collectively, yours may be extraordinarily long, and if that is, excellent. After all, you're still watching this, so we all thank you for that. Our collective attention spans have shortened to the length of a boomerang or a viral clip, a 4 or 5 second clip on TikTok. Or we have the attention span of a tweet. I mean, really, we expect immediate gratification. And our social media platforms, in the form of likes and subscriptions and loves and views, deliver that hit instantly. And we want more, more, more. And we expect awakening to be just like that, instant, more, more, more. We become deeply impatient. Now, we don't know when enlightenment is actually going to come. I mean, who knows? Who knows when enlightenment will dawn? We don't know this. But the practical difficulty, issue, problem with our lack of patience is this. In order to have immediate results, we need infinite patience. Only infinite patience brings immediate results. This is from the text, chapter 5, excuse me. Only infinite patience brings immediate results. How about that? So what's the problem with our impatience? Well, we send mixed signals. When we attempt, when we're impatient, to order and orchestrate and control and manipulate all phenomena, we're pretty much telling the Holy Spirit what to do. We're saying, I want it now. I want this to happen. I want that to happen. I want it to happen the way that I want it to happen. And when that doesn't happen, we become deeply frustrated. When we don't have infinite patience, we don't see the immediate results of peace because our mind is torn. We think that we have to have things our way, a certain way, and we're not open to the direction of our inner teacher who knows all ends. We're not leaning in, we're not relaxing, and we're not trusting. And this is the essence of all spiritual practice in any tradition. It is our learning to relax and trust, isn't it? So when we limit our patience, we limit our results. Same thing. It flows quite logically and naturally. We're sending the message of confusion to our own mind. We want things, but we want them a certain way. That's contradictory by its nature. If we want the peace of God, we relax and trust and allow it totally. When we're patient and relaxing and trusting, that's when immediate results take place. That's where we begin to glimpse truth. When we're infinitely patient. In other words, when we're infinitely trusting in the guidance of our inner teacher. That's what we're invited to do. So again, if you're curious about the question, what is the resurrection? I would refer you to the Manual for Teachers. Now, if you're new to A Course in Miracles, there are three main components of the course. One is the text. The other is the workbook for students and this Manual for Teachers that we referred to here. That's like a Q&A, some frequently asked questions. I mean, it's a spiritual FAQ section. So if you're interested in that, chapter 29, what is the resurrection? And I hope that you read that and that you come away inspired by that. So I thank you for tuning in and for all of the questions that you have asked here. I invite those. If you have a question, please feel welcome to leave it here in the comment thread on YouTube, where we can discuss. And if you haven't joined us yet, I invite you to subscribe and join our channel here. This is the prompt over here in the corner of your screen. Go ahead and click or hover over that arrow, and you'll be invited to subscribe and join us. Please do that. We'll be back here shortly for the next video because there are several of these each week. So if you have particular questions, again, please feel welcome to leave them here, and I will talk to you very soon.